Okie dokie. Good morning, boys and girls. Good morning, good mornings. Get this all set up. I'm late this morning. I was up nice and early, and then I got distracted, and now I'm late. How does that happen? Does that actually happen? How are we doing, boys and girls? Good morning, good morning. Oh, hello. Where's everything gone? Please hold. Everything gone. Where have you gone? Some tunes. We need some of that. It promotes the fact that we stream in 2 places these days. Where's the other one? Where's it gone? Where's it gone? I don't know, where's it gone? What am I looking for? That's probably it. That'll do. That'll do. Quite bored watching Elden Ring PvP? Elden Ring PvP. There's PvP in Elden Ring these days? I thought it was single player. Shows what I know. Shows what I know. I've never been a Dark Souls fan, unfortunately. Though I know many do like it. Can invade indeed. Okay. Right. Ready. We got some patch notes. We got some patch notes to go through that turned up. We had a beta build yesterday. I know I didn't stream yesterday, but yesterday was my be busy, focus, and concentrate, and in turn meant I actually got a lot done yesterday. Anybody that's watching the YouTube will have spotted that I've started my 1 to 100 leveling guides for the professions now. I'm really hoping, I'm being clever about it. I'm going through each of the professions and I'm desperately trying to figure out which ones I think are finished, rather than doing them in alphabetical order or something. So there's not going to be any bias from me into which profession leveling guides I get done first and which ones come last. Simply, I'm going to pick the ones that I think are finished. So we started with alchemy yesterday. I also got, later on the day, I got enchanting done. This also means I've updated the guide as well for people with those leveling paths. Also, I hope, I really hope that they are, they're not going to change. They goddamn better not change. I'll do them again if they change, though. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. I've even drank nearly all of my coffee already this morning, which is unusual. Unusual for me. It might be a double coffee day, you know. Today, there are 4 professions on my list that I want to have a little bit of a look at. Now, I don't know how much of that will get done on stream, but I want to level through 4 of the professions. The 4 in question are... Which are the 4 in question? The 4 in question are... I got to enchanting yesterday. I want to take a little bit of a look at the leveling path for blacksmithing. I think blacksmithing has had some updates potentially. The leveling path was reasonable last time. You could get to skill 75 without too much difficulty. Then you got to do smart things. Tailoring has actually also had... I think tailoring might be fixed now. I'm under the illusion that tailoring might be fixed. Fixed, but maybe not finished. We'll see. We'll have a little look at tailoring later today as well. Inscription is on the cards. I know the leveling path for inscription has had some changes. And also, finally, engineering. Now, obviously, engineering leveling path isn't really a leveling path because it's all the discovery thing. You just make whatever the hell you can make whenever you can make it. But there's a little bit more science to it than that we need to go into detail with. It's actually the last profession I haven't really focused on from a leveling perspective at all. I've just kind of gone by the theory of that, yeah, you just scrap a bunch of stuff and you make things and you'll be fine. But they're the 4 professions I want to have a little bit of a look through today. See if anything jumps out. See if anything has changed. So where's... what are we going to start with? I guess we start with blacksmithing then, don't we really? I guess we start with blacksmithing. So little man here doesn't actually need to be dancing around. Nor do we even really need to be on this server. That was just for the intro. Cheerleader with a tier 1. 13 is not an unlucky number in this context. Yes, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Good morning. Good morning, good morning. Hope you're well. Let's switch to the leveling realms. I really need to delete some of these characters, you know. Really need to can off some of these characters. We are going to make... create new character. We're going to do Blood Elf Mage, because why the hell not? Does Blood Elf gain a benefit from blacksmithing? No, good. I'm deliberately choosing not to use racials. BS Steve. Don't know why I've chosen the name Steve. My name is not Steve. Don't ask me why I chose the name Steve. Maybe I just like the name Steve.
Sweet
all of my profession leveling testing tunes are called Steve. Don't know why, they just are. Trepid Muppet, thank you very much for the prime. 9 months, baby time. Thank you, appreciate it. Snooze these goddamn ads. Away. So yeah, start with a little bit of blacksmithing today. What do I expect? What do I expect to see with blacksmithing to determine whether it's different or not? We make some alloys, then we make a bunch of gear, a couple of weapons, a couple of more weapons, a couple of more bits of gear, a couple of more bits of gear, some stones towards the end, and then 75 plus. You have to go find patterns. Okay. So that's what we expect to see. My question is, have they made 75 to 100 any more straightforward blacksmithing? That's really where I think changes could or maybe should have been made. 75 to 100 path is always a bit icky. Gross. Let's go edit mode. That one. That looks tidier, doesn't it? How are we doing Team YouTube side of things this morning? Give me a wave, Team YouTube. Let me check that I've got the stream's working and that the chat is up and working. Give me a wave if you're on Team YouTube. Let me know that it works. Well, all just bots. Bunch of bots. Hey, we got followers on Twitch, though. Thank you very much for those. Appreciate it. Right, blacksmithing. Go. Bit of you. Beep beep on my bot. I knew it. Let's grab army knife. I don't know if we need an army knife. We probably need an army knife. What else are we definitely going to need that the game's not going to give us? I don't know. Let's grab whatever's in one of these things. Where are they at? Blacksmithing bag. Give me some goodies. I don't like the fact that it gives me core alloys, actually. In fact, I don't like the fact that it gives me any of the alloys. As part and parcel of leveling. It's also interesting it gives you level 2 alloys out of this bag. Does that mean level 3 alloys are on the vendor?
Just the thing for you.
Oh, all level of alloys are on the vendor. Okay. At outrageous prices. Why have they bothered to do that? Is that an indication that vendoring these things is going to be expensive? E.g. meaning that listing them on the auction house is also going to be expensive. Is this a sneaky suspicion that even posting these could get massively expensive? Is that where their gold sink is going to come from? You're going to jack up the value of auction house deposit fees everywhere. Welcome in, Zan. Good morning. Praise the Lord, a stream. Yeah, when I don't stream every day, it feels odd. It feels odd in my brain. I have such a routine, such a habit of streaming Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. If I ever don't stream on one of those days, my brain doesn't understand what's going on. The reason I never enjoyed being a jewel crafter was being robbed by the auction house auctioneers whenever you post raw mats. Well, that's true. That's true. Well, that has actually always been a bit of a downside, I suppose. formats. Costing a lot to post. Okay, well, we can get some Lobby shit in here if needs be. The reality is I don't actually need these, do I? I would be better off. Here's the question. Here's the question. If we are going to be leveling... In many cases, I like to try and suggest how to level by using the things that you make. There's also part of me that's like, we're just going to go straight into making gear, then maybe buying the alloys off somebody else is actually still going to be the cheaper option. Outside of the first 4 minutes of the expansion. What do I expect to see when we start leveling? Craft a bunch of core alloys, you'll need these later, then you just make gear. All the gear. Okay. Of course, you could craft the alloys yourself using raw materials if you wish, but buying them is likely to be cheaper, especially buying quality 1 stuff. Buying quality 1 stuff is likely to be cheaper than making quality 1 stuff, because people will just be throwing the quality 1s away. Okay, I'll decide on that in a minute. What we definitely need, though, is echoing flux times a lot. Echoing flux, crystalline powder all the way, and then maybe some tinderbox action. Crystalline powder, where are you? Crystalline powder. Alright, let's try and decide what we think is actually going to be materials that's going to be useful. I'm going to get rid of all of these. It's nice that we just instantly have them, but the truth be told is that I don't actually think we need them. I'm going to try and simulate this properly. Be some cheap stuff. Some cheap. Cheap. No, you're a Herbie dude. Give me some cheap bismuth. Cheap. If I start with 1,000 of everything, we'll see what we end up with once we've finished. And then we can do some simple maths to figure out what it cost us. We'll make the alloys as and when we need them. Yeah, I'm working on Blacksmith leveling guide. So I'm doing my utmost to simulate kind of, you know, how a real player would really play it, if that makes sense. Welcome in, Sebastian, over on Team YouTube. Appreciate it. Welcome. What else am I missing? What was the where's the vendor stuff? Where's that flux business gone? That's going to be on you, isn't it? Where's the flux business? Hello? Echoing flux. There we go. Let's grab 1,000 of that. I'm sure we're going to need it. There's some vendor mats. This material's a little bit further down. Going to need the space, aren't we, for... Going to need null stones? What do we need null stones for as a blacksmith? Big boy ingots, right? Big boy ingots, yeah. Okay. I'm sure we'll stumble across needing something else at some point. Alright, we'll go with that. We'll assume we won't need much more than that to begin with. Returning after skipping Dragonflight, so all the crafting makes no sense at all. Probably just figure it out when the War Within drops. Yeah, it's definitely going to have been an advantage to have played through Dragonflight to at least, you know, get the foundation in place. I'd spend a little time before the expansion launches, though, trying to figure some of it out, because if you try and do it all when the expansion launches, it could probably be a little overwhelming, to be honest. You got 2 weeks before the expansion goes live, might as well. Dog! Dog! What are you scratching for? Oh, ads, so missed the explanation. Whoops. Stupid ads. The TLDR is you got 2 weeks, do some research. or go back 2 minutes on the YouTube version. I snooze the ads as much as I can, but there comes a point where I can't snooze them anymore. Right. Let's assume this is roughly what we need to at least have a little bit of a play. Let's have a little look then. 4 alloys, Alan Alan Claw? Alan. Iron Claw Waystone. That's a very interesting one to be given for free at the beginning. I mean, you are absolute. Why are we getting given this so early on? That's an outrageously expensive. 1 null stone or 1 attack power buff? These aren't going to be cheap, are they? They're making sure these are not cheap. How do you access the guide? I'm already a gold member. You pair your Patreon. Firstly, thank you. Secondly, you pair your Patreon up with Discord. Once it's linked, you'll get access to all the right channels in Discord. Distribution of stuff is handled in Discord because it's just easier. Most people are already there. So yeah, pair it up or send me a DM somewhere and I can give you some further advice. Playlist is making me feel old. All these songs are from my youth. I think this is actually a 90s dance playlist. So, yeah. You and me both. Shouldn't make you feel old. Consider it the ability to reminisce on good times. Stream in the background while I'm waiting for Moomin Day mug to be released. Oh, yeah, you said this the other day. You said it's Moomin Day on Friday, and it's Friday now, isn't it? What does that mean? Moomin Day mug 2024. Google is literally telling me. Hang on. Moomin Day mug. Coming on sale 9th of the 8th, 2024. Hang on, can I show this on stream without it doxing my address or anything stupid? Moomin Day mug 2024. Moomin Day mug of 2024 wakes up Moomin Valley from hibernation. The new mug celebrates Moomin's Day and Trove Janssen's birthday for the 17th time. The design and colours of the mug are based on Tove Jansson. I'm probably butchering the name, but you know, whatever. Spring, it's the 3rd mug in the Moomin Day mug collection, featuring an illustration of particular blah blah blah. Mugs delivered in a gift box adorned by the same atmospheric illustrations as the mug. Purchase limit of 6 mugs per customer. I don't think I want more than 6. Mugs are only available as long as the limited stock lasts. Do we get the wife an impromptu gift? When does it come out? Today. When does it go available, boys and girls? Where's my fins at? Same again in English. Same again. Sorry, same again in English. It started in English. Same again in Swedish and Finnish. So is this a limited time thing? Tell me, tell me. She'd love it. Can you get my husband's wife one too, please? Haha, clever. See what you did there. Do Twitch subs get the same benefits as Patreon? Not really. Is the TLDR on that one? It's split down a little bit more on... I don't have control really so much over what Twitch does, which is hence why I use Patreon. Secondly, a little bit of honesty coming out here. Twitch steals 50% of the revenue, so I don't actively push their service too much. Patreon only takes a 10 to 20% cut. Which means a lot more of your generosity actually makes its way to me, which is why I promote Patreon instead. But there's a premium channel in the Discord which shows you in detail if you want to investigate. Limited amount thing releases in about 30 minutes. Oh, really? Maybe I should order one of these for the wife. Get myself some free brownie points. Right, well, remind me in 30. Remind me in 30. And we'll do something generous for the wife. I don't want another stupid mug, but I'm sure she'd like it. Right, okay. That seems odd that it's given us this. Wasn't this Ironclaw Waystone also a... Didn't you also unlock this via the Spectres at some point? Does that mean they've changed the Spectres for blacksmithing even? That's actually a plot twist. That's quite the plot twist. Wasn't this Ironclaw... Ironclaw Waystone? Yeah, this was the one that you unlocked and you used it to level from 66 to 75. They've given you it from level 1. All of a sudden. That's quite the change. Alright, let's just play. Let's figure stuff out. I think we are still, without question, going to go straight into making some core alloys until we get something better. So let's go gadget go. The engineer battle res still usable by all players? There is a new battle res thing. I can't remember the exacts on that. We will be looking at engineering a little bit later though, so ask me again in a bit.
Are you just glad to see me? Both, I hope.
Unless somebody else obviously knows the answer. Ah, anonymous gifted sub. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Thank you. Whoever you are, wherever you be. My suspicion is we're going to need so many core alloys that we should probably craft this until it goes great anyway. But let's at least give the game the benefit of the doubt and have a little bit of a look at what we've just unlocked. hair hammers. Using bismuth and iron claw ore as opposed to bismuth, echoing flux, and crystalline powder. Interestingly, that's probably not a bad thing to craft a bunch of if it wasn't for the fact that I know we're going to need a boatload of core alloys anyway. Or we could dive straight into using some of those core alloys we've already made to get us 2 skill points. Okay, we do go. We ignore the rest of this. We go straight into Dredger's plates, don't we? I actually stated that we go from 10 to 16 with these. But we could go... Yeah, maybe we just make a bunch of core alloys now. Null stones are, from the info I've found, pretty hard to get at the start. It'd be a pain to level blacksmithing at the start, it seems. You're just not going to craft these at the beginning. You're just not going to craft these. You ignore this. This is something that you'll craft at the end. Why they've given you this like instantly, I have no idea. Because yes, you're right. Null stones, and null lotus are like the rare gathering thing. Like you might get a couple every hour sort of thing. They don't have quality on them, so when you get them, it's just GG. But the gatherers out there are not going to be getting too many of these too quickly. Not until they've at least specced pretty deep into gathering. How much concentration do alloys use if I don't use rank 3 mats? Quite a lot. Core alloy, in fact, all of them, it will be quite a lot. When we've got this leveled up a little bit more and we go into like the end game blacksmithing, I can give more exact numbers. It's always quite a lot. If you are ever choosing to drop your material quality down and choosing to use concentration on top, it is unanimously across the board using quite a big chunk of concentration. You're going to heavily be limited to how many crafts you can do in that way. Probably more so than anything to incentivize you to use top quality mats if you want to make more. Bought the guide yesterday, decent info, thanks for your work. Hey, I appreciate it, thank you. Enjoy. Vendors, didn't show me any vendors in Orgrimmar. Still empty on the beta, any ideas why? You got to be on the right realm. The vendors are only on the it goes to 11 realm. That's the profession and endgame realm. The other realms on the beta are the leveling realms, and then Orgrimmar is just Orgrimmar. Right, I am going to craft these all the way to 10, I think, because I think it just makes sense still. Not like we're not going to use them. I tend to have this theory that if you can make an intermediate material and get skill points from it, you probably just should. At least until it goes green. Not like these are going to go to waste. We're going to use them in a minute anyway. Yeah, now it's gone green. You can go like, well, we'll make them when we need them now. We start getting some of the basic profession gear, which is interestingly using very few materials. Seemingly a bit more heavy on the powder. Big consumption potentially of this crystalline powder. Bismuth, iron claw, bismuth plus your core alloy. Which when a core alloy is 10 in the first place, actually makes that like 20 bismuth in normal numbers. One crystalline powder goes into one of those. That's 6 crystalline powders plus 10 bismuth. I suspect that we are still looking at just going the gear crafting route. I don't think much has changed there in terms of like optimization and price. Come back and harvest first time crafts later. Reg's breastplate is the one I've suggested here. Oh, well, that's interesting twist. It uses 2 alloys, but then only 1 bismuth. You can use 1 piece of ore to make an entire breastplate, but if you want to make a pair of boots, you need 10 bismuth. 2 core alloys for 20. That's actually 21 bismuth, whereas this is actually technically only 20. Tiny optimizations. So we'll change that out to... Actually, let's see what happens. I reckon if I craft one of these, it will go yellow, and then this one will stay orange. Okay, now it's gone that way. Okay, so saboteurs. Slight adjustment here to what we do. Let me change the guide on this. Still making 3 of them, still getting the same skill points, but it's actually more optimal to craft the boots first. We learn charged alloys and iron claw alloys. Now the question becomes is do we craft some of these just because we might need them later? And if we can get skill points, we can and we should. They're significantly more costly to produce than these. But if we're going to craft them anyway at some point, do we just do it now? Shits and giggles. I'm going to assume we probably, for the sake of simplicity, I'm going to say no. We can always come back and make these as and when. Breastplates, 16 to 20, so probably 2 of these. This has changed, though, quite substantially since I last did my leveling of blacksmithing, so I would also maybe assume this is finished. Hard to gauge. Will I do any more profession leveling videos? Oh yes. Yes, they'll all be covered eventually. It's just time consuming. How much do we expect to naturally get concentration wise? I just see people with max. It's roughly 250 a day. So your full bar is, if you spend everything, it's going to take 4 days before it's fully recharged. The simple maths is 10 per hour. So it's actually 240 a day, but for the sake of maths, it's easier to say that it's for the sake of maths, it's easier to say that you just you get 4 days all recharge. What's ever burning ignition? I saw a whole tree dedicated to it. It's a little buff. It's a little buff. You can, when we get to 25, I'll show you it in a little bit more detail, but it's a buff you can get that boosts your ingenuity, resourcefulness, and multi-craft. It's actually pretty trash, but it's something you'll use eventually. The fact that you have to spec into it and spend a lot of knowledge points to obtain it makes it pretty bad. You'll get it eventually, but it's an optimization thing rather than something you'll chase after. Blacksmithing seems pretty finished to me. It also seems incredibly boring. Nothing cool, has no interesting talents, but it'll be a solid moneymaker because of all the crafted gear. That's just blacksmithing down to a T, though, isn't it? Really, that just is blacksmithing. Ye old faithful, ye old reliable. I feel like the multi and resourcefulness amounts are so low in the War Within compared to Dragonflight, even when fully spec'd. Yeah, true. Yeah, we're nowhere near like 40%, like we saw often in Dragonflight. I don't know if this is planned. I don't know if this is deliberate, but yes, I also agree. Generally, your secondary stats that you're going to gain, even when tippity top min-maxed in all angles, you might push 20-25%, but we're not in the 40s like we were. I wonder if that means that they're leaving themselves room to do something later on in the expansion. Maybe, like I suspected that they could and probably should have done in Dragonflight, maybe we'll get like an epic set of tools. Seems obvious to me. And that epic set of tools will be a 11.1 and 11.2 feature. Something for crafters to chase after later, which will then take us, you know, give us more secondary stats, catch up with the skill, change the thresholds on concentration usage a little bit. Maybe keeping it, you know, somewhat reserved at the beginning gives them room to grow, which would be nice. But I wanted that in Dragonflight and it never happened, so let's see. Hang on, Zan, did you say alloys all the way to 100? Do they really go all the way to 100? Oh, God. Okay. Well, if that's the case, it makes the 75 to 100 path nice and straightforward. But we'll ignore them for whilst there are cheaper options. Both Iron Claw... The fact it uses Iron Claw, you're adding additional crystalline powder, and you're adding flux to the mix, makes the Iron Claw ones relatively expensive. Or more expensive, mathematically, than the armor still. And we suspect a Kyrite might actually be even more expensive than Iron Claw ore. Do you believe there'll be tools or recipes dropping in hard content? Tools, no. Recipes, yes. There's a whole bunch of raid recipes, which unless you're killing raid bosses, you're not going to have free access to. Those recipes are bind on equip, though, and will be on the auction house if you wanna skip the killing of bosses and just buy them instead. Those numbers would match our character stats too. How we start with like season 1 with about 20% of each stat and then end up in season 4 with about 40. I mean, yeah, it's sort of makes sense. I just, you know, I think they had I think they had best intentions of taking the Dragonflight system and adding to it, but because we never got a 10.3, I suspect that it was something that they were going to do and then just decided not to do. Because they hadn't told anybody they were doing it, there was no issue with striking it off. I need to remember this though, because if there's ever any pieces of gear that start to get ridiculously expensive, you would then switch back to making these instead. But 20 plus... What are our options? A core alloy, which is the equivalent of 18 bismuth, plus or minus. 2 core alloys. Okay, so the Van Braces is clearly the win so far. If we can use bismuth, we use bismuth because it's going to be cheaper than Iron Claw ore in all avenues. These are your option. This is the win. Yes, these are. Oh, null stones. Holy smoke. A null stone to make a profession tool. Woof. Rip leatherworking. Rip green leatherworking tools. They're going to be wildly expensive. But then the blacksmith one doesn't use any? Odd. 1 core alloy going into making the hammer. Yet leatherworkers get fisted with a null stone. Doesn't seem fair to me, does it? Blacksmithing has a lot of weird material costs still for the recipes. Well, if they change the recipe, if they change the materials on the recipes, like this is, like why doesn't this? You would expect this to like, it's a candidate for some echoing flux, isn't it? Really. Not that I want to advocate putting yet more vendor items on a recipe, but it seems odd that it's just like, oh yeah, you smush an alloy and it becomes a hammer. Okay. I still think that this is the play for the purpose of leveling, though. 20 to 26, so no longer are we going to be producing iron claw stilettos. Instead, it's these dredgers. Dredgers plate vambraces. Presumably times 3. Aha, we are minus the iron core alloys all of a sudden. Gonna make 5 of these because there's no way we don't use them. No budget to fix professions. It's not only a budget thing, it's maybe just a time thing. Right, this will get us to 26, and some of these recipes will change. Oh, this is still the best option at 26. Moomin mug. Oh, thank you. Not that I suspect there'll be too much of a rush on them. 38 euros? Fuck me. God, it's expensive doing a nice thing. 38 euros. Yeesh. Right. Express checkout. PayPal. Go. Hey. Guys are not seeing this as I'm filling out my address. What the? I've just heard the music. Why did nobody tell me we were listening to Barbie Girl? Lord have mercy. Home delivery. Bring it to my house. What? Oh. Join the Moomin fan club. Get bent. Is that the right PayPal login? I hope so. Sorry, boys and girls. I'll be back with you in a minute. Doing a nice thing. Boom. Let's make sure close that window before I accidentally show it on stream, because it has my entire life credentials on it. Okay. There we go. Nice thing done. Sorry. What's so special about the mug? I ain't got a clue. Collector thing. Collector thing. You should see my drawer in the kitchen. We've got literally every Moomin mug you've ever seen. Hang on, what's going on here? Really wonder how many people will have early access. Oh, I'm absolutely convinced there'll be more people that have early access than there will be people that don't. Let's chat amongst yourself. Do you have unlimited knowledge points on these realms? You do, yeah. You can fully play till your heart's content on these realms. E.g. test. Plan. Do you know how many profession points we can grind day one? I don't know exact numbers. There's no I don't know exact numbers, but I have very accurate rough numbers for each of the professions. Accurate rough numbers. You know what I mean. You know what I mean. It does differ a little bit between professions as well. There's an easy to give you the rough numbers. In the first week, you can probably you can easily get 50 knowledge points. If you are playing somewhat competitively, you'll get about 80 points. And if you're absolutely sweating it out, there's room to get about 100 points. And those are rough numbers, right? But that goes to show roughly what the capability is in the first week. Very rough, accurate numbers. 60% of the time, it works every time. Yeah, something like that. Right, we learn everything at skill 25 by the looks of things. Huge amount of goodies. All the goodies at skill 25. Means we should have a few different options here on what and where we're going to craft next. Plus we've also got a specialization that we could unlock if we need to call upon it. Is there any tree with blacksmithing that just gives you something for free? The ever-burning forge will allow you to craft ever-burning ignition, which uses artisan's acuity to make it. Ew, makes it even worse. I didn't realize they'd added artisan's acuity to it. Core alloy and crystalline powder, and you can only have 5 of them. Yeah, it's just icky. It's just not any good. Certainly not for the beginning. It's not any good. Learn to craft the Artisan's Blacksmith Toolbox. Artisan's Blacksmith Toolbox. That's the big boy one. Still only one skill point though. 4 iron claws, 300. They haven't changed any of these, have they? 300, 300, 300, 300. Why do leatherworkers get fisted? Look. Why leatherworking tools? 5 null stones, 10 powders, and 7 iron claw alloys on top of the 300 artisan security. And then a blacksmith strolls in and it's like, oh yeah, one easy to get thing from a treasure box and 4 alloys. Rip leatherworkers. You are getting fisted. Damn, son. Okay, sure. Weaponsmithing could give you nothing for free. Armor smithing probably the same, nothing for free. Okay, so we're not unlocking spec trees just to get something for free, meaning we probably are still just crafting these until they change. So it's actually 20 to 30. Craft 5 of them. That line can go away. You're 25, you'll unlock access to your first spec tree. I do not recommend unlocking anything yet unless you already have a strong idea of the path you plan to spec into. That logic still makes sense. Alright, what new stuff do we get? 30 Iron Claw swords were a good option last time. Alloy and a few Iron Claw ores. How does that compare against 2 alloys, 1 alloy and some bismuth? That's better. 1 alloy and some bismuth. Right, we do helms instead then. Weapons using Iron Claw ore are going to make them ever so slightly more expensive. So for the sake of simplicity, we go straight into Dredger's Helms. Craft a bunch more of these. Pilfering Ceravite bolts for parts, still a thing. Yeah, still a thing to my knowledge. I think they have nuked the viability of getting many mount components, but you can still pilfer them for scrap, I think. Yeah, when it comes to what we get and what we don't get in early access, I'm going to assume we get everything until actually told otherwise. Yes, there was an interview ages ago, but Blizzard seemed to be reluctant to put any clarification to these rumors. So I guess we will find out when we find out. And a passing comment in a 6-month plus old interview isn't really reliable information at this point, in my opinion. Developed helms. Dredger's developed helm. Question is how many? When is it going to stop giving guaranteed? 36? Or are we going to take it all the way to 40? Looks like we might take it all the way to 40, unless these end up being even better. They're the same. These start to cost a little bit more. These cost a little bit more. Alright, well we go helms all the way to 40 then. There's argument to craft one of each of these anyway, because they're so close in price for first-time craft bonuses. But the less steps in the guide, usually the easier it is for people to follow. Boom. There we go, 40. So 30 to 40 on those. That actually removes the 36 to 40 step. Nice. We can slide a little note in here at least. Most your options at this point are going to cost about the same. If you wish, you craft one of each the gear unlock, gain craft bonuses. But it's not mandatory. What do we get at 40 then? Frameworks, maces, knuckles, and more frameworks. Whoa, these fucking lids. Did he spilt it all over me? This, by the way, these stupid non-detachable lid things, I want to find the person who's responsible for making that rule. Send them lots of ill will. 'Twas me. Banned. Instant banned. Right, what are these frameworks good for then? And are they cheap to make? They only take a powder. They only take a powder. Not a terrible option. The fact that they only use one core alloy actually makes them the better option. Oh no, I lie. Leg plates are the best option. I lie. I almost lied. Dredgers developed leg plates. Yeah, this has got so many changes in it since I last did a blacksmithing pass. I do kind of feel this is probably launch ready. I can't suspect they're going to change this much more now. Alloys, by the way, only the sanctified alloy is the one that's giving guaranteed skill points still. The cheapy, in the middle ones have stopped. Doesn't feel right seeing mage spells on my screen. I've ended up with so many characters on this one realm, I needed some way to differentiate them quickly and easily. So any character that I've used for the purpose of like testing the leveling path is a mage and is called Steve. So it's odd, but because you can't like put tags on characters and stuff, it's the only way. I'm going to guess we make 5 of these all the way to 50. This will be the crucial one to find out. Oh, they sneaky stop giving skill points. Now this is where the question becomes is do we switch to making these for the final 2? Because they're guaranteed. I think we do. I think we make a couple of pairs of knuckles instead. It's 2 points instead of not even guaranteed 1 point. Or you make 4 frameworks. No, you're still better off making knuckles, aren't you? 40 to 46, 3 sets of dredgers develop leg plates. 46 to 52, 2 Iron Claw Knuckles. My maths is mathing correctly. Boom. Then we get our forged framework as the last thing the trainer gives us. It worries me that we're only at 15. We've harvested all of our trainer stuff. Forged framework, on the other hand. Yeah, is this going to take us all the way to 75? Maybe it does, you know. Does this genuinely take us all the way to 75? That's icky if that's the case. We have the choice of an alloy or a forged framework. Well, it's no competition at all, is it? Okay. Let's make 5 more of these. We're going to literally just make 25 frameworks and then put them in the bin. It's a pain. Now you have to throw the whole bottle into nature, not just the... Yeah, that's it. You have to squeeze the whole turtle in here. Stupid flipping. It's being connected to stupidness. Right, let's do it 5 points at a time. Okay, we're still good on 5. 50 to something. What the hell's this thing called? Forged framework. Still good at 55 for skill points. It's this or an alloy. Well, it's this then, isn't it? Not saying you wouldn't be able to sell the alloys for roughly what it costs you to make them, but it's so much more expensive to create in the first place, and you're going to be making them at quality 1, which may not have much appeal to people. It's a significantly riskier play making alloys at this point, if you can make something cheaper and easier, even if you just put it in the bin. You take this to 60. Aha, stops giving skill points at 60. Stops guaranteeing skill points at 60. That doesn't mean we're going to stop making it, though. Oh, even Sanctified Alloy is now not even a guaranteed skill point at 60. Wow, you hit skill 60, and you actually don't have anything. You have nothing. Oh, this stupid ever-burning ignition, of course. Of course. Of course they're trying to make you press this button. I see. I see. At skill 60, you unlock your 3rd spectre, though. Right, okay, so now you have decisions to make. Do you? Oh, you can only craft this 5 times even if you want to. I've just remembered. If you can only craft this 5 times, maybe it's something you sneaky save it till later. Or when you get, you know, the last points are more difficult. Imagine if this gives you skill points all the way to 100. You do this 95 to 100, and you just take the 5 artisan security hit. Is there anything else we're going to easily be able to go out there and get that's better than just continuing to smash through these? I don't think there is. If you can get your hands on the PvP gear, obviously that requires you getting the recipes, but it's still not a guaranteed skill point. Razor Claw, stone businesses are not guaranteed. Nothing in your arsenal that is going to guarantee you skill points at this moment, other than really ever burning ignition. So, my suggestion, I think, is if people want to push to 75 in order to get all 4 Spectres unlocked, you're still going to grey this out, I reckon. Sanctified takes you all the way to 100. I assumed it would. But it's expensive, so we want to put it off until the last minute. If we still have another option, I think it's still wise to make these because they're cheap, and if you put them in the bin, nobody cares. Been meaning to ask you, how often should I check the guide for updates? Well, obviously the game's not out yet, so at this point it doesn't really matter. What I have done though is I've started a thread in Discord, which is like a changes log. Anytime I do anything of any significance, I'll put a little I'll put a little note there so people can keep up with it. But it's going to have many changes up until the game goes live, and probably after. So get the change log. And it's technically a cloud-based document, so if I make a change, you'll see it instantly. I don't have to like push an update. It's not like a PDF where I have to send you a new copy or anything, so. I guess we make a shitload more alloys. I'm wondering if I... Yeah, I think this is the point where I'm going to start stating to people that things change and you need to do different things. This is like transitional period. Change this to skill 60 plus. Here you have some choice how to get skill 100. Nothing via the trainers. Will guarantee. Skill. Option 1. Grind sanctified alloys. Grind sanctified alloys. This is probably not the cheap option. But this can be crafted the way. Skill 100. What's the value in a rank 1 sanctified alloy? Is there anything where you might use a sanctified alloy where it also doesn't generate something that has quality? Is there a dump for quality 1 alloys is what I'm trying to get at here. What do they go into? All the endgame gear, that's where quality matters. You're not going to pump them into these at any less than quality 3. Same with the weapons. Same with the embellished gear. Earthen Master's Hammer. Repair a weapon or a piece of plate armor you've specialized in repairing. Are they mad? What is this? What is this crafting costs? What? Hello? What is this? If this gave a weapon or a piece of armor the indestructible trait, it still wouldn't be worth. Somebody was smoking crack when they did that one. Oh, God. Back in a minute, boys and girls. Back into... All right. Unless it's reusable and doesn't incur a repair cost. I mean, yeah, if it's not consumed, it would be more cool if it was like placeable item, of which then everybody could repair their gear for free. It takes a gold sink out the game, not particularly a very aggressive one, but yeah, sure, if your raid wipes 500 times on a boss, it adds up over time, doesn't it? But still a interesting item. Yeah. In my thoughts behind all of this is what's the funnel for quality 1 alloys? Because I can't find any need for for a sanctified alloy at any less than quality 2. Cheap people will use quality 2s on making gear, even though they shouldn't, because then they'll watermark the gear with shit materials. You still want to use the top tier materials, even if you plan on upgrading it in the future. If you watermark it with bad materials, then you're just delaying the problem till later. Blacksmith's tailoring bag. Oh, that's a maybe. Let's wowhead this real quick, because I can then see all of the things in one place, can't I? What's it called? This thing called? Sanctified alloy. You. Reagent 4. Gear, all the gear, that stupid hammer business. Okay. More gear. Satchel. Okay. There's some argument for using in fact, it's not even an argument. You should be using quality 1 alloys, quality 1 weaver cloth bolts, and quality adorning with that's a vendor reagent, isn't it? But there's also one significant problem on top of that. It only boosts ever burning ignition, which is already trash in the first place. Meaning blacksmiths are probably not going to be that excited about spending 150 artisans acuity getting this bag anyway. People will want it eventually, but eventually doesn't help with today's problem of that absolutely nobody is going to want quality 1 sanctified alloys. Not a chance. So mass producing them for the sake of getting for the sake of getting 40 skill points is literally a sunk cost. Whatever it costs you to do that, you can throw gold at it, but you're basically converting it into hot garbage, yeah. You might a few blacksmiths might get fooled into getting that bag and stuff, but I'm not sure that that's going to consume the quantity of tier 1 sanctified alloys that might be generated by leveling. Tinderboxes are probably going to be rare, like those random Strider sinews or whatever. No, these are easy. These are really easy. Hallow Fall treasures, you get them all the time. Save it for transmog at the end of the expansion, maybe. Points and push to guarantee it at rank 2. Well, I mean, I'm not saying there isn't a market for these. I'm just saying for the purpose of leveling, you are taking gold and putting it in the bin, producing quality 1 versions of these. Even if you're at the ability, you're not going to be able to produce quality 3 alloys yet. What's the scenario? Maybe upping them to quality 2. Can you squeeze out at least quality 2 sanctified alloys? You've got quite a way to go. At this point for the purpose of leveling. Yeah, it's still a sunk cost. I'm just going to advertise it. It's a massive sunk cost. This is going to be expensive. You are going to have a tough time selling rank Q1. You're going to have a tough time selling quality 1 sanctified alloys. You plan to go this route. Maybe consider maybe consider pushing to make them at least Q2. By using better materials or concentration. Quality 2s, you'll have a lot better chance of selling them. Either way, grinding sanctified alloys all the way to 100 is just expensive. It's just expensive, but it is a thing. So that's one option. Let's give people 2, maybe 3 options. It's guaranteed, it's easy. You can go to the auction house, you can get it done. If you don't care about gold, do that one. But let's do option 2. Those more price conscious out there. Option 2 is probably, well, maybe you'd actually grind out forged frameworks to some point. When do these go grey? Or do these... Please don't tell me these go all the way to 100. That would be that's actually broken if that's the case, but... Actually, before I go any further as well, I need to make note of how many materials I used. We used 500... No, we used 450 bismuth. Bismuth, 450. 450 bismuth. We used 10 iron claw ore. We used, what did I start with? 1,000 echoing flux. So that's 170. What else have we used? We've used crystalline powder. Did I start with 500 of this? I did. I think I've used, what, 40... 44? These are estimated numbers. I'm going to have these as estimated numbers. Most of the leveling path we are crafting what is considered leveling gear. These are not expected to be high quality and we should aim to use the cheapest materials possible. Exact material numbers. May vary. Disclaimer. These materials are only till skill 60. Sense? Go with that. Forge framework is still going to depend on if they remove it from the trainer or the framework tree. Yeah, that's why I think the framework thing is still a little bit odd, because it's over here somewhere, isn't it? Were you not meant to actually unlock this? Learn to craft the forged framework. Yeah, the fact that we get it as a trainer recipe is still a bit ambiguous, because we might not have been able to actually craft it just yet. Because you're meant to have unlocked this via the spec tree, which makes this whole side of things a bit weird. But there's also the consideration that all of these are giving you points in crafting alloys and frameworks, and if you don't have a framework recipe even, you're like, well, what? Oh, I suppose you have the adjustable and the tempered, don't you? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe this is still a little bit work in progress, or maybe they just never made a decision. And it is what it is. But if it stays like this, grinding these until they go grey is actually the play. Let's make a bunch more core alloys. Can you give a very wild guess as to the cost to level? Not easily. Obviously, with a rough shopping list, I can make a very rough guess. But plus, it will also change day by day. The value of materials is wild in the first couple of weeks of an expansion. They go up, and then they go down, and then they go up, and then they go down again. So, honestly, most of the time I tend to reserve like 50k for leveling your profession. If it costs you more, deal with it. If it costs you less, great. I tend to put a ballpark number of about 50k to level each profession. Plus, obviously, anything you make, technically, you can sell to recuperate some costs. So it's just like, consider it a sunk cost. Just get it done and then figure it out from there. Leveling cost will depend heavily on if you have early access or not. Well, there's a strong chance, a very strong chance, that if you do have early access, it will be more expensive for you. It's not like it will be cheaper during early access. Or it's less likely to be. By the time, you know, 4 days after the expansion has launched, materials will probably be a lot more, a lot cheaper than they were on day one. What do you think the plan should be for early access? Buy the items needed to level up the professions from the auction house or gather them yourself, as the prices will be stupidly expensive. However, doing so, you would lose a lot of your time whilst gathering. I don't ever recommend gathering your own materials. If you need materials for a crafting profession, you should always just buy them, regardless. Because the thing you're making, whatever it costs you to make it, you pass that on to the person that buys the thing. It doesn't actually cost you to buy the materials, or it shouldn't. Obviously, for the purpose of leveling the profession, you make a bunch of often vendor trash, which is a sunk cost that you have to just deal with. But like I said a minute ago, just deal with that sunk cost. That's the cost of opening the business, right? You open the business and then you write that cost off and then you figure out profit later. If you can't afford to open the shop, don't open the shop. Go pick up some flowers. I never, ever recommend picking up your own materials, regardless of the time of the expansion. So, in regards to early access, not leveling up professions because your materials might be more expensive, I don't really think about it. Like, truth be told, I just don't think about it. It's not something that makes sense to me. For early access, my recommendation to most people is play with professions if you want to play with professions, but most valuable use of your time will probably be leveling some toons. Use it to level a couple of characters up to 80. You've got 4 days. It's entirely feasible to get 4 characters leveled up if you play a little bit each day. About 5 to 8 hours for most people, I think, to level from 70 to 80. So getting a few characters leveled up then means when the flood of people that join 4 days later at the poor launch, then you'll be ready to stand there and sell them all the stuff they need. If you know, they'll be 4 days behind. They'll be. You can then stand there with your level 80 characters. If you've taken the time to level your professions, you'll just straight up be ready to then sell them everything they need. That's kind of the route I'm going to go with it. I'll probably spend most of early access leveling characters, not professions. I don't know. Depends how many alts I want to get stuff sorted on. It depends on the prices of things. I don't usually make a solid plan. I just wing it. If I'm honest, I'm usually streaming the launch of an expansion, or I have as of the last few anyway. Meaning I'm just playing the game. I tend not to. I tend not to make much of a plan because I know I won't stick to it. So, what the hell is this? Wish upon a star. Move over. Full send. Well, that's the other option. You just go ham. Just play 18 hours a day and burn yourself out by day 4. Too bad war mode exists. The ultimate way would be I don't know what that means. Gonna make some deals with a waifu about the kids and then just go full degen. I might have the house to myself. I might not have a wife nor dogs to deal with for the launch. Meaning I might be able to live in my studio for a few days by myself, and we'll just do degenerate things. I don't even know. We'll get the pizza delivery man on speed dial, and we'll just go sweaty. Haven't really decided. I should decide. It's like 2 weeks away, but we'll see. I guess I do kind of need to test how far this takes us. But before I do that, what is option 2? I don't really like telling people to spend points in their profession trees. I mean, plus anything that takes a spark isn't something you can do until the season launches anyway, which will instantly dismiss it as an option for some people. We have the option of going and finding some more tools and crafting those, but at one skill point, you'd have to do 40 work orders for these just to get to 100, assuming they don't go yellow, which I think they'll probably go yellow at 80. See if the pizza guy plays WoW too, make a LAN party. Hey, now you're thinking. Risky getting her the Moomin mug. She might want to spend more time with you. Or it might soften the blow when when she gets told to go away for a few days. There isn't really an option 2, is there? I've just noticed there isn't really an option 2. There's option 1, which is the expensive one. true, you can fulfill Spark orders via patron orders, technically before the season launches. So there is at least some possibility. I mean, technically there's like 3 Spark orders here. 3 items which, if we say, has skill up. There's 3 orders that could technically be filled there. But of course, this is so random it cannot be relied on. Supplies the Beast Fang. Doesn't supply the Sanctified Alloys. Doesn't supply the Iron Claw. I mean, it's 3 skill points. You ain't going to want to fill that. That's expensive. You ain't going to want to fill that. If you're going to have to make 6 Sanctified Alloys to even fill this order, then you might as well get the skill points from crafting the Sanctified Alloys yourself, you know? That's actually... I wonder if this is Big Brain. I wonder if the Big Brain... In fact, no, because you're going to need to use higher quality Sanctified Alloys to even reach the skill requirements. I was about to say for a second, is maybe patron orders a Big Brain way to burn through low quality materials, but not if you have to also meet a minimum quality up here. You're going to be forced into using higher quality shit just so you can actually even do the order. Ugh. I can't get over how much I don't like patron orders. It's a step in the right direction, but it seems more of a side step to me than it does a forward step. They all are asking for quality 4 as well. Meaning you need to at least be able to guarantee quality 3 by yourself. That's not fun. That's not fun at this point. Yeah, you get some profession tools under your belt. That's another 40 skill. But even if you start unlocking things, another 40 skill on top. Yeah, you're still having to use bigger and better material. It's not going to be fun. Ouch. I wonder if ever burning ignition, just making 5 of these every day. Designating 40 artisan security to just, you know, the slow but steady approach. I'm going to assume the slow but steady approach is a thing. I'm going to put it down as option 2. It would technically take you, what, like 8 days? What's the recharge on this? Is it a 24-hour recharge on this? Or is it a smaller recharge? I guess we'll find out in a minute. Plus, I have a suspicion this won't guarantee you skill points all the way up anyway. Oh, it's only 2 hours? That feels like it might be more worth. We're at skill 60, so we can open 3 of these anyway. But our goal really, or at least my goal, is to at least give players some path to 75 skill points so that they can at least open all of these. As you see, you can't open the last one until skill 75. Oh, but when you learn it, you start with only 1 out of 5, but every 2 hours you can gain 1 skill point. Every 2 hours you can come back and gain 1 skill point. So it's going to take you 20 hours. No, Every 2 hours you get 1, you need 40. It's going to take you 80 hours. It's very slow and steady. Very slow and steady. Yeah, optimizing your production of sanctified alloy. These points seems fair to me. Let me grab just a bunch of materials now. So I've got the quantity of materials I need. So let me buy some better stuff to test this a little bit. All right, some of them. Get some better alloys and some better materials.
Something special?
Oh, I can't buy huge quantities of these because I'm not going to have the gold, am I? With 20 of each.
Goodbye.
Actually, so at this point, is there any way we can at least get it to quality 2? What if we throw some money at it? Iron claw ore doesn't really move the needle much, does it? Okay, now that's interesting. That's interesting. If you are going to go the slow and steady route, you can go the slow and steady route with sanctified alloys, but you're going to have to first put a little bit of effort into. You're going to have to just straight up buy iron claw ore at quality 3. You're going to want to get your core alloys, which you can probably start producing some of these yourself at higher quality. At skill 60, you can put quality 3 bismuth in the mix, even without anything going on up here. And technically, and cheap to do, mind, but technically you can spend 18 hours worth of concentration on making a single. You can very slowly chip away at making sanctified alloys. You could either just buy the quality 3 ones off somebody else along with the iron claw ore and use 2 days worth of concentration to make quality 3 versions of these. It's not very effective, but it will mean you make something that will be worth something. And you'll slowly get there. But 2 days of concentration per press of the button, it's going to take you weeks to get this bar from 60 to 100. So it's the slow but steady approach. It's the slow but steady approach. Everburning goes yellow at 90 and then green at 95, but it can get you most of the way though, which is cool. In fact, it can get you all the way. Every 2 hours you can come along and press this button. If you go in the power leveling route, you just say fuck it. You just go spend a bunch of gold, buy the materials, and you just make 50 of these. 100 of these, however many of these you need. You just get it done. If you're going to throw gold at it, you just get it done. You don't worry about it. Otherwise, you do this every 2 hours until 90. Or you just do this every 2 hours. Yeah, you do it every 2 hours till 90. When it stops guaranteeing you skill, you probably don't want to spend artisan security on it. Yeah. Okay. Slow but steady. Ever burning ignition. Alright. Ever burning. Ever burning ignition can only be crafted once every 2 hours. But will so that means alloy smiths are going to be able to make rank 3 alloys week 2, assuming they use the cheese tool. No, you'll be able to make rank 3 alloys day 1. You'll be able to make rank 3 alloys day 1. There's nothing here technically that's stopping you from being able to make rank 3 alloys literally day 1. You'll come along, you'll do exactly what I've done here. You'll bite the bullet, you'll buy these materials, and you'll blast this to 100. And by the time you blast this to 100, you'll be able to use quality 3 ore and probably quality 3 alloys. And this bar will be much further along here, and you'll instantly be able to throw concentration at making quality 3. You won't be able to guarantee them, but you'll be able to make quality 3 of these day 1. You'll have filled this bar. Now, you can do whatever you need to do to get whichever, you know, the better the tools you have here, the further this bar is going to be towards the end. It also kind of wouldn't surprise me if you can actually guarantee quality 3 sanctified alloys day 1. Because I would not say that it's outside the realms of possibility to fill this bar and get full set of blue tools. And yeah, day 1 quality 3 guaranteed. Easy business. Easy business. If you're willing to take the no prisoners approach and do whatever you need to do, you'll be able to guarantee quality 3 day 1. I would suspect, unless you need to dump an ungodly amount of points into here, which I don't think you do. 20 points, 50 points, 80 points. No, this is day 1. Day 1. I'm pretty sure you'll get quality 3 guaranteed day 1 if you sweat it out. Funnel tools from an alt. I'm going to assume that you can get all of this day 1. Just use some alts to do it. You can get this to 100. Then all you need is the base skill from your spec trees, which I don't think accounts to much more than about 80 knowledge points, which technically means you could get that done day 1. All 3 tools day 1 from alts. That'd be some insane work. You can do a lot in 24 hours. You can do a lot if you don't sleep. This is my point, right? The goblin race starts from the minute the servers go live. Everybody else gets a casual, sort of a casual, like, chill relaxed entry level to the expansion. No, the Goblin race begins the second the servers go live. Don't need alloys until the season starts. No, it's true. But that doesn't mean they won't sell. Doesn't mean being first to market isn't still a massive advantage.
Just glad to see me.
The demand,
Both,
the demand might not kick in. That still doesn't mean you'll make some crazy gold off doing it. Egg with a prime, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, mathing out if things are possible. Possible is very different from viable or needed. There's a significant difference, but when you're doing the maths on this sort of stuff, you want to know what is the soonest point in which somebody will be able to do something. And my suspicion is, which we'll test this in a little bit more in a minute, my suspicion is if you want to guarantee sanctified alloys at rank 3, without sleeping, you could probably do it day 1. At least somebody out there will do it, which means when you start spotting them on your auction house, day 1, you'll know where they're coming from. You'll know why they exist. You could also offer crafters a lot of gold for their acuity. Yeah, of course. Yeah, the process of getting 450 artisans acuity on 3 different characters is not particularly easy to do, but somebody will do it. Somebody will do it. There's no question. Somebody will grind a character to 80, get the renown that they need to get whatever they need to do. They'll unlock adventure. Somebody will do everything. You have to remember we are playing an MMO that has millions of players. Somebody will do it if it's possible. And that's all it needs. The region-wide auction house works in the way that it only needs one person to do it. And somebody will do it. You may think it's ludicrous. Somebody will do it. Somebody always does. Slow but steady, ever-burning ignition can be crafted every 2 hours. Will guarantee skill points up to 90. And can technically... it's a slow and steady, but it works. Option 3, though. Option 3. Option 3, work orders. Option 3 is going to be the work order route. Option 3 is going to be going out there and filling work orders for your artisan's blacksmith toolbox. And starting to unlock either armor or weapons, depending on which way you spec. or going out there and getting more profession equipment. Leather workers are going to want their tools. Recipes can be obtained. Wow, all of these come from Artisan's Acuity and Lurendal. Nogel. Yeesh. Heavy trunk. It's delves, right? Skinning knife comes from delves. Okay. Most can start to collect the profession recipes. I'm going to suspect that these probably go yellow and stop guaranteeing skill points as about 80-ish. These tend to not get you all the way to 100, though. But it's at least a viable option. And start collecting profession tool recipes and hope for work orders on these. And start to spec into either armor or weapons. Be aware quote unquote real does not exist till the season starts. Patron orders might happen, though. Patron orders might happen. Just oil it and craft alloys to 100. I mean, that's the route I'll go. That's absolutely the route I'll go. I'll throw gold at the problem to make the problem go away. But I know that's not necessarily the route everybody would rather take. Snail it with Dark Moon Fair. What? Get yourself, what is it? Two skill points a month. That really is snail mode, yeah. Got 110,000 gold on beta if you want it. You do know gold is free and unlimited on beta. Just transfer a character over with gold cap, job done. But thank you. Thank you. I bought the 4th warband tab. I'm poor now. Need to get above 9 mil. I'm looking at the 5th one and going, I can't not buy this, but I really don't want to buy this. I'm gonna have to buy it at some point. It's another one of those stupid long boy situations, isn't it? I can't be the goblin content creator that streams and does YouTube content and all that. You know, I can't be that guy and then not have the 5th tab. Makes me look stupid. But that 5th tab, man, whew, spicy. On with being rich, we didn't get there because we bought all the things. Oh yeah, true. Truer words have never been spoke. Okay. Now I need to craft a few things and see a few things. Right. I'm going to do it in chunks of 5. I want to see when things stop being whatever they are. Right, we got to 65. Everything is still giving skill points like it did previously. The only change is that the PvP stuff has gone green now. Solidifying my decision to just completely ignore these. Go 5 more. Let's get to 70, see what happens. Do we still have this, by the way? Oh, the forged framework has gone green now. I wonder if this is going to stay green all the way to 75. Still not convinced we should even have this recipe, though. Oh no, it goes grey at 70. Grey at 70. The burning ignition is still guaranteed points. Alloys are still sometimes points. There's, although we haven't, oh, you need to put points in to even unlock these. I was about to say using the, what do you call it? The brilliance, the bottled brilliance. There's the engineering crafted finishing reagent that gives you a 40% better chance of gaining a skill point. There's not many places where they're useful to use, but considering how expensive these could be because of the nullstone, relative to how much you'll be able to sell the damn things for, because the quality ones, you're just putting them in the bin, nobody wants them. It is going to be so wild when the quality 1 version of this will be 200 gold, but the quality 3 version will be like 10k or something. It's going to be a real huge difference in price between quality 1, quality 2, quality 3. Makes me think that some people out there are just going to have to get used to using quality 2. Some people are just going to have to accept they're not rich enough to buy quality 3 stuff. Because the beginning of the expansion is going to get wild. Laughs at the pause in WoW. Get off your high horse. Get off your long boy and swill with the masses. Swill with the peasants. Made me wonder what is everybody's Scrooge McDuck moment in WoW. Mine was I made a fresh druid leatherworker in Cataclysm because I found the 300 gold leg armors were too expensive. Oh dear. I used to have a rule I would only buy stuff if I had double the amount of gold needed. I made an exception for the long boy, and since then I've not had to buy something so expensive anymore. It's funny you say that. I employ the same rule in real life. I can't buy something twice, I don't buy it once. And so that really helps you not spend like stupid money on expensive things. And it also means you don't accidentally get like upsold too far. Stupid things though, right? Like last year I bought a new lawnmower, and I was looking at lawnmowers and I was like, right, well, I could buy this one. Oh, but this one has some cool features. What about this one? Oh, this one has some cool features. And then all of a sudden I realized I'd upsold myself and the thing was going to cost 3 times as much. And I was like, right, well, I could, like, would I be willing to pay for this upsold version twice? And I was like, no, that's a ludicrous amount to buy to spend on a blade that spins and cuts grass. It'd be cheaper to buy a cow by the time I finished looking at this lawnmower. So I was like, no. Free milk, exactly. Yeah, it got tempting. I thought about it. Goats. I don't like goats though. Goats, I don't know. I've never been a fan of a goat. Goats are the goats of grass cutting. Well, yeah, but the only downside of livestock doing it for you is grass goes in and shit comes out. At least my lawnmower doesn't shit everywhere. Shit's then good for the soil. True. True. There is maybe an upside still. It's the eyes. Goats have those horizontal pupils. Goats' eyes freak me out. People clearly don't like goats. I'm not getting a goat. I don't care what you say. I'm not getting a goat. Alright, 5 more of these. Actually, what did I say when... where did we get to? I need to put a note in these frameworks. These will still give skill points till skill 70. Not going to make a big deal of the fact that those forged frameworks give skill all the way to 70, because I'm not even convinced that they should be in the game in the first place. I think you're meant to unlock them, which does mean we're going to need to find something to get from skill 50 plus. Yeah, this whole blacksmithing guide is balanced on the fact that I'm not convinced that we're even meant to have this recipe to craft at this point without speccing into it. Which is why I'm going to be a little bit dubious about turning our research today into a video. Because I still think a build will turn up next week and it'll change. YouTube vids yesterday came in clutch and have me more prepared for the war within. Kudos to you. Thank you, thank you. There will be more to come. I'm carefully trying to pace them so that I don't have to make them twice. Bags are server specific, especially considering the fancy tailoring ones are bind on pickup, so they're going to be work orders. Although, if you're in a guild orders are region wide, so it's all a little bit muddy. It's all a little bit muddy. Right, let's get to 75, see what changes by the time we get to 75. Oh, we didn't actually get to 75. Still guaranteed, still not quite guaranteed. That didn't change. None of this changed. Tools are still guaranteeing. Okay, let's go 5 more. Sorry, I know this is very slow and steady today, but sometimes I'm slow and steady. 80. Okay, Sanctified Alloy goes very low chance of giving you a skill at 80. That's a spicy meatball. That's going to make the throw gold at it approach even more redonkulous. These.
Is that your wallet? Or are you just glad to see me?
They
Both, I hope.
turn green at skill 80. This will make the final 20 points very expensive. Haley, welcome in. Yay, free money. Thank you very much for the prime. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you. Toolbox, still good. Fashion tools, still good. The work order route there is not too bad, other than the fact these are only going to give you 1 skill point. With patron orders dishing you out only a handful each and every week, you might get 1, you might get 2, you might get none. So it's actually kind of quite... You're going to have to hunt down some legitimate, real orders for these if you're going to use this route to get to skill 100. Wow, it does really feel like you're just going to have to throw gold at it or press a button every 2 hours. Concentration good for alloys, something else. I mean, yeah, alloys, I would say, well, unless you're doing work orders for people. If you're doing work orders for people, you probably want to reserve as much of your concentration as possible, so that when somebody turns around and goes, oh yeah, I would like this thing at quality 5, please, you can say yes, but, and your but is going to be how much you're going to charge to use your concentration, because you will need it. You're unlikely very quickly to be in a position where you can guarantee these at quality 5. I mean, it's at this point in the time where you are likely to be trying to fill orders on these, you are also probably not skilled enough. You're unlikely to be skilled enough to get even to quality 4 guaranteed, so you won't be able to make them at quality 5 even if people request. You would need to get this in order yourself, which would only give you up to another 40 points. Which we need 404 to guarantee quality 4. Meaning if you are going the tool direction, you're gonna have to spend your knowledge points very aggressively helping you out here as well. Because even with concentration, even with concentration, you can only make a quality 4 every like 2 days, which is not fun. You might do that for yourself, maybe. You're making your own blacksmith hammer, for example. You might kind of you might bite the bullet and say, right, I'll spend 2 days of concentration making myself a quality 4. I'd take the quality 3, honestly, and then upgrade it later. But quality, like, this is something that's quite important. Quality on your profession tools and accessories really doesn't matter at the beginning. Trust me when I say it really doesn't matter. If you're going to blow gold on something, there's probably better places to spend your gold. Paying somebody aggressively to get like a quality 4 one instead of a quality 3 is such a minimal step up. It's going to be a minute increase. Sure, it'll be an increase, but like you can, I think you can, and I think people will vastly overspend on trying to get the quality of these up. It mattered a lot in Dragonflight because people were like, oh, well, I've got 44% inspiration and this dude's only got 42. He's a scumbag. Don't buy shit off him. But like that sort of stuff's kind of gone now. The selling of work orders will be a lot more simplified. It will be as simple, I can craft this guaranteed, and I can craft this using concentration, and it's going to cost you this much. The transaction, the deal is much more simple to put together. Which in turn means that crafters don't really, once they can guarantee quality 4, they don't really have to worry too much about these. How much do you think people will pay to buy the blue tools with the crafter's acuity, even at lower ranks? Oh, I mean, how long is a piece of string? Depends on how desperate that crafter is to buy 300 artisans acuity. It will be worth more to some players than it will to others. If people are willing to spend gold on doing that, there's a strong chance that they really know what they're doing and they're doing that deliberately. Which means you can probably gouge them for quite a bit of gold, if I'm honest. Because they'll know that if they don't buy it off you, they won't have many other options. They, worst case scenario, might have to do the hard work and do it themselves on an alt, which is what people are buying the luxury of not doing. I'd say a token is worth that, honestly. I reckon crafters out there will happily pay a token for that. You say pick a big number and double it. 250k gold is the number I ended up. Yeah. Sound like shit again? You sick again? No, I'm coming off the back of being sick. But thanks for that, Jack. Appreciate it. This is why I didn't stream yesterday. Talking for like 3-4 hours straight is clearly not good for my throat right now. But it's the weekend tomorrow, so I got 2 days without doing too much talking. Or Monday. I'd build up 10 alts to sell like 10 tools at like 250 to 300k. It's an easy 3 mil. People will do it. It's a viable way. It's a lot of work, but do it. This is kind of the point that, like, if you those alts are going to need 450 artisans acuity to buy the recipe. They're going to need 450 artisans acuity to buy the recipe, and then to have the 300 to sell. Not to mention their prerogative, if they're offering that service, is also to be able to craft it reasonably well. Meaning they're also on that alt going to have to level the profession up. Whilst the recipes for most of these... I don't know what the minimum skill requirement is. Actually even buy the recipe and craft the thing. Is it 25? 25 or 50? Either way, they're going to have to level the profession a little bit themselves, which is going to incur a cost and time. I personally think that the time and effort going into that is easily worth a token's worth of gold. So that I just don't have to do it. But that's my take. That's coming from somebody that's got quite a lot of gold and so doesn't maybe value it as much as others. But if you had to take, you know, your credit card out to buy that amount of gold in the first place, you might think different. Is 450 doable week 1? Oh, easy, yeah. It's there. It's available if you want to go out and do it. You get 200. You get 200 basically for free. What you need to do is you need to find the rest. If it's like 12 hours of work and it gets you 300k, it's 25k an
Is that your
hour.
wallet? Or are you just
Definitely
glad to
worth
see me?
buying if somebody's offering
Both,
that.
I hope.
Hey, 25k an hour is not, you know, can't be sniffed at. You know, for the last God knows how long, farmers have been people have been in the world of 5 to 10,000 gold an hour doing menial tasks in the game. At the beginning of an expansion, if somebody's gonna pay you 25k an hour to do some busy work and make some profession tools and whatever. And not to mention, once you've done it once on one ult, you can probably replicate the same thing twice as fast the next time round. I'd genuinely say there'll be crafters out there that will pay a token's worth of gold for a free tool that they don't have to provide the artisan security for. Kato Samo with a tier 1, thank you very much, appreciate it. Good afternoon. You got me thinking that there might be a chance somebody's going to be selling the blue tools and I don't have to do the work. Oh, there definitely will. There definitely will, but they'll be charging a price that is, you know, reflective of the effort that they had to put in to do it. How much artisan security is needed for recrafting a tool? Oh, probably nothing. Like 5 or something. Probably nothing. So we're at 80. This has gone green, which is an ouch. We can... Does the little, Where's it gone? Oh, no. Wrong button. Oh, there isn't a thing that resets the thing.
Walk with the earth.
Oh. Cooldown remaining. Is there not a button I can press to fix that on the beta?
We shall meet again.
There isn't a button to press to fix that, is there? Not like there is with alchemy with its transmutes and stuff. They didn't think of that, clearly.
Glad I could help.
I guess they didn't want people testing this much because it's trash. Wait, hang on. 0, 0, and 0? Adworth. What? There is a button, it's called create a new character. Yeah, I guess, clearly. Wow. Wow, well that's bait. Till you start putting some points in it, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't have any flat... What? What? Gain 3 ingenuity, 3 multicraft, and 3 resourcefulness per point. But it doesn't have any base stats. Wow. First craft is basically free in terms of acuity. Oh, that's true. Clever. I mean, that is shocking. If it genuinely doesn't even have like 5 base stats. That is best buff ever. I think at one point in the beta I got 15 of each stat when I had it on 0, but maybe they've messed something up. Yeah, I don't know what they've done. I've not entirely dismissed this, but I've thought since day one this is a bit of a meme. Not to mention there's a node that does nothing more than increase your ingenuity. And players know how I feel about nodes that do nothing but give you ingenuity. Like, there could not be a bigger trap if it, like, okay. So with 0 points, you just get the ingenuity bonus. You get the concentration save, though. It just doesn't state it in the buff. So do we now have... No, 50%. No. Granted you 0 ingenuity. It's worth absolutely nothing. Until you've put points in here, it's literally doesn't do anything. Doesn't show in the UI. It's a bit weird. Oh, really? Madness. Alright, fine. Well, that wasn't really what I was trying to pay attention to anyway. What happens when we get to 85? Let's get to 85. I mean, I really dislike ingenuity in the first place because your ultimate goal is to just not use concentration. A stat that only benefits you when you're doing something you don't want to be doing anyway seems a bit weird to me. I like concentration as a mechanic. I've got nothing against concentration. The ingenuity just seems pointless, though. I didn't actually track how many sanctified alloys it's likely to take for you to get from what was it, 60 to 100, but at this rate, woo, it's going to be a lot. I think I bought 20 of these. Whatever this number minus 20 is how much I've had to create already. Divided by 2, obviously, because you make 2 every time. So, have I done 40 crafts of this already, and I've got like 15 points? Ouch. Not to mention the last 15 are going to be hell. Blacksmithing is then literally every 2 hours you press a button and you get 1 point. That's horrible. I mean, I guess it's something. That is going to make you cry. Okay. Okay. Nothing else changed. The toolbox still giving spec points. These are still giving spec points. Oh, I bought 50 tinder boxes, didn't I? So when these run out, I've pressed the button 50 times. Blacksmithing is the one where the ratio's kind of big. It's big for... what is it? +5? It's big for 10 hours. That's all it saves you. It saves you 10 hours. It saves you 5 presses of this button. I wouldn't really call it big. It's a slight convenience, but... what did I run out of? Tinder boxes. Tinder tokens.
Pleasure doing business with ya.
Anything change at 90? All the more painful when you know you're just going to put these in the bin as well. Unless you can somehow get away using them in your own crafts somewhere, but I don't think there's any value in these other than putting them in the bin. 9. Yeah, I mean, I did write in the guide, like I've specified that you do have some crafter prerogative to use better quality materials up here to start guaranteeing quality 2 sanctified alloys at the very least. So at least you can extract some value from this. Then as and when your concentration allows, you could choose to also then, you know, throw some concentration at it to make some quality 3s. Which, if you can sell a couple of those quality 3s for a nice cheeky profit, that might help cover the cost of the quality 2s you're going to put in the bin. The quality 1s you might put... Well, the quality 2s you'll sell as well, but quality 1s you put in the bin. So it's not the end of the world. I'm probably hyperflating it a little bit more than it really is, but on. Go 90. There we go. Ever-burning ignition has, yes, gone yellow at 90. So yeah, actually those last 10 points are going to be harder. The very, you know, short of throwing ludicrous amounts of gold at making sanctified alloys all the way up. Every 2 hours log in, press the button, unless you absolutely must have this at 100 as fast as possible. Oh, tools have also gone yellow at skill 90. That's worth knowing. So, patron work orders. You can start collecting profession resting tools and hope for orders on these. They can take you to skill 100, but turn yellow at skill 90. You can start to spec into either armor or weapons. Be aware that real orders will not exist until the season launches and players get their sparks. Patron orders might happen, but guarantees 3 skill points every craft. Guarantee 3 skill. Okay. Curious if it's worth to work on weapons, alloys, or armor first as a blacksmith. There's strong suggestion. I mean, you just have to pick ultimately. There's pros and cons to each of them. That said, though, it's entirely possible for you to just level 3 blacksmiths. I know not everybody has plenty of alts to play with, but you know, I should at least make it known that that's the way that some people will do it. Some people will spec into alloys on one character, they'll spec into weapons on another, and they'll spec into armor on a third. Cover all bases. In Dragonflight, I usually opted against doing this because you would eventually end up with 3. Like, if you were, you know, if you were to then continue leveling those characters after after they'd become specialized in one thing, you'd end up with 3 jack of all trades crafters. And it was just like, well, you now just have 3 crafters for no reason. At least in the War Within, because concentration will always be a limitation. If you actually level up 3 professions, if you go in 3 different routes on 3 different characters at the beginning, even when they all end up being jack of all trades, yes, you've got 3 jack of all trades, but you now technically have 3,000 concentration to spend on blacksmithing wherever you can best use it. So there's still some advantage there, which there never was in Dragonflight. If you had 2 fully spec'd, you know, because there was no limitations on the amount of stuff you could craft in Dragonflight, you didn't need multiple copies of fully maxed out characters. There's a real tangible benefit this time round. This is where the alt army system is like leveled up. This is where there's the meta shift, right? We've seen alt armies be a thing for a while, pretty much forever, really. But like we've seen them being since probably Shadowlands, I'd say, is where we first really start to see alt armies becoming popularized because of the mission table. People did it prior to Shadowlands with the previous mission tables, but not to the same degree. Since Shadowlands, it became popularized. In Dragonflight, we had things like the tailoring cooldowns and the Dracothists and the transmutes was useful. But in the War Within, whew, I can't wait. I genuinely cannot wait until we start seeing the complaints come from people that it takes too long to grind out the knowledge points. Again, it will happen. It was the same argument in Dragonflight. There's no changes there. There's still 500 to 800 knowledge points needed per profession. I can't wait until people start crying about how long it takes them to do that. And then they realize that there are players that will have not done it once, not even done it twice, but will have done it 20, 30 times. And they'll be like, oh. The level up is going to be wild. Can you send work orders to alts on Cross Realm? No, not normally. But if you put them all in the same guild, then you can send a guild order, yes. Guild orders work Cross Realm. My complaint was that there was no achievement, filled all blacksmith points and still gave me nothing. Yeah, that was like some 800 knowledge points or something. I think it was exactly 800 for blacksmithing. It was like, whew. Ouch. Yeah, if you don't go the gear crafting route, you have a very grindy, whilst possible, you do have a very grindy path to skill 100. Grindy and expensive. But there's part of me that thinks that professions should have that, right? You should have a slow but cheap way. Slow but cheap, or expensive and instant. Choice is good. Or you can do a bit of both. You can spend a bit of gold until these go green and then crawl across the finish line once every 2 hours with the ever-burning ignition. Do what suits. But skill 92, I've used 80 nullstones so far. $93, $94. See if anything changes at 95. Probably won't. game will let me get to 95, that is. Oh, no, we've ran out of materials. What have I run out of? Core alloys? Do you think it would be worth going into parts on week 1 to grind out the materials for the mount? Since the profit is capped, since it's also sold by a vendor. There's been a lot of chatter about the engineering mount and who, what, why, and how people should maybe go for it. My opinion on the engineering mount is that nobody in their right mind is going to spend 3.1 million gold on that mount. But there are people who are not in their right mind. So very, very, very early days. The earlier you get it, the bigger the status symbol it is, right? If you're running around on day 1 with that silly engineering crafted mount, you got swinging dick. You know? You've got bragging rights. The same as buying a fancy sports car. Doesn't benefit anybody but yourself, but it looks cool, right? There will be some people, sure, that will pay it. Mount collectors will just wait until they can get it as cheap as they can, I suspect. The 3.1 million gold is the ceiling price, though. I suspect that the price will be very, 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 very much cheaper than that.
I hope.
I'm sure you'll be able to purchase all of the components to build one of those for way less than that. And the question is just how low will it go? How low will it go? It's going to be a very difficult one to put a valuation on, really. You're going to have to just see what the market value for it ends up being over time. There's a massive risk dumping gold, time, and energy at the beginning of the expansion, crafting them. Because there's absolutely no guarantee, even if you get all the components together to make one, that the price you put it on the auction house, it will sell for. You don't know. You don't know what people will pay for it yet. You don't know what the going rate is going to be. Where's the point where people will be like, yeah, you know what, I'll buy it? Don't know. We don't know. Which also means that if you're trying to craft parts to then break down or mount parts, it becomes super risky because you've got no idea how much you could or should be paying. And at the beginning of the expansion, one thing we know for sure is that all the materials are going to be at the highest price they probably ever will be. So the risk is at its highest. Big risk, possibly big reward. But if you have to spend 1 million gold plus a shitload of time processing it, and then you only sell it for 1.1 million, is it worth? Who knows? It's up to you. I'm probably going to steer clear of it, to be honest, though. Seems too risky for me. I don't need the gold that badly to risk it. Probably 150k gold if you get all the parts from Ceravite bolts. Well, Ceravite bolts, I've not done the test on this recently, but Ceravite bolts, I think now only give bountiful bolts. I don't think they give all of the mount components anymore. They give scrap, and I think they give bountiful bolts. Somebody might correct me, though. I've not tested this for a while. Ever-burning ignition went green at 95 as well. Wow, you really are limping over the finish line here. But this level of balance, right? This level of choice here equally makes me think that blacksmithing is actually finished. I'm pretty convinced now that they're like, yep, blacksmithing is done. Mythic Plus. Mythic Plus, World Drop. Sanctified Steps might be one you can just snag on the auction house, maybe. Then you've got to pray to RN Jesus that you get a flipping work order for it. Alright, fine. Limp over the finish line while I write some notes. Okay. Actually, there's not much more to say. That, which is fine. Is it still that some of the weapons actually? Still that some of these weapons come from like world drops and stuff? Didn't actually check those. I know this entire set is from the spec trees, but some of the weapons still world drops. Weaponsmiths. Oh, Awakening the Machine. Okay. You could buy it. There's one something. There's something that makes me think that recrafting, investing your own spark and then recrafting it multiple times might end up being an alternative way. That seems sweaty, broken, and still something you can't even do until the season launches because you won't have your spark either. But I think it was, what, like 2 that came from outside the profession? 1. Kazalgar World Vendors. Well, that's clearly down in Ashgahet, because it uses Kej. 1, 2, Theatre Event. 3, buy it in Dornogal. 4, Awakening the Machine. No skill ups on recrafts. Don't get skill on recrafts. Is it? It's not. How extensively have you tested that? Since in Dragonflight, even if it said 3 skill ups here, for example, 3 skill ups on a new craft, recrafts would still give you skill points, but just at a heavily diminished rate. It might take you 5 recrafts to gain a skill point, but it was possible. I wish I hadn't got to 97, actually. If I'd have not got to 97, I could have tested this a little bit more. I'll maybe test that separately at another time. It's a real sweaty kind of like odd play, which is one that you can't really do until sparks exist anyway. So, delay on it. Okay, I think that's about as good as I can suggest. Maybe there is something to say in option 2 for like patron and work orders. This needs splitting in 2. I don't like that screenshot. Some... Card Slicer, Ruined Event. These ones. So your other option is Patron and work orders. You can start by collecting the profession tool recipes and hope for work orders on these. They can take you to skill 100 but turn yellow at skill 90. You can start to spec into either armor or weapons. Be aware, real orders will not exist until the season launches and players get their sparks. Patron orders might happen. Guarantee 3 skill per craft all the way to skill 100. Some of the above weapons can be acquired out in the 4 new zones. Charged Slicer. Let's just clarify that these are true and that I haven't made this up. Charged Slicer is the Nerubian vendor pattern. Rune Axe comes from the Theatre Troupe event. Face Smasher is Dornogal vendor. And the Charged Crusher is from Awakening the Machine. There we go. There we go. Congratulations, you should now be skill 100. Happy days. TSM still a thing these days, or is it in the past? No, TSM is still most definitely a thing. It's getting some updates for the War Within. They're also working on a new website, I believe, which I'm also led to believe comes out quite soon. I don't know exactly what it does, but they've got a new website coming out, so you will hear more on that in the future, I'm sure. Not to mention TSM is still the backbone of all of the data. Like, without TSM, we wouldn't have pricing data on literally anything, so in that regard, it's still very much alive and kicking. I don't personally use TSM anywhere near as much as I did in the past, but that's mostly because crafting has evolved into a system that just doesn't get systemized in so easily. You kind of have to make some more active decisions when to press the button rather than writing some rules and it just happening. But the auction house side of things, the data that TSM pumps out is valuable. Need more tinderboxes.
Interesting.
Should I maybe quote roughly how many ingots? I went through 100 tinderboxes. And I'm still only skill 95. So if you were going the make a bunch of alloys route, I've made 100 of these already, and I still haven't crossed the finish line. Gonna run out of flipping alloys again, aren't I? Gonna run out of core alloys. 8. No, still not even 99. Come on, game. Oh, don't do this to me. Never lucky. I think that's a good moment to be using that bottled finishing reagent from engineering. I kind of agree if it wasn't for the fact that you don't actually have the ability to use it unless you spec into it. You need to put, what is it, where is it, and how many is it? Learn to use finishing reagents to add additional effects when crafting alloys. You need 20 points in here, which is going to require 10 points in here, so that's 30. How many points do you have to put in here before you get a sub-spec? 15? 20, 35, 40, 45 points? Is that right? 45 points you have to spend into alloys before you can actually use that finishing reagent on these. So, yeah, I agree with you, but I'd still only suggest doing that if your blacksmith is planning on going that route anyway. If you are planning on going another route. That said, if you are planning on going another route, you've gone that other route anyway. But, like, yeah, it's a thing. It's a thing. Dark Moon Fair as well. True. That's noted in my little guide as well. Why don't you use Craft Sim on beta? It's updated. And in simulation mode, it will show you all the relative time. Yeah, I know it's updated, but I like to do things manually first because it means I have a better understanding of it. Then I can use an add-on to speed it up. I had the same concept with things like Trade Skill Master, for example. I would always learn the process, doing it as manually as possible, because you just learn more that way. And especially from the perspective of testing, it kind of means it's easy to spot where things feel weird and wacky. But yeah, I know. I probably should switch it on at the least. Plus, Mr. Craft Sim himself is lurking, I think. At least he was earlier. Oh, hang on. What we run out of? Flux. Oh, I'm trying way too hard to get these last 2 points now.
Welcome, friend. Keep it real.
Go on. Don't fail me, game. 7 crafts to get 2 points. You can do it. You can do it. $99. Come on. One more. Do the ding. Hey, the very last one. There we go. Oh, and then we learn the Earthen Master's Hammer recipe. We get given that automatically, do we? Interesting. You get that just for free for digging 100. Sure. Two ringing deeps ingots, and then a bunch of, well, there's a good use for a bunch of the alloys, 200 plus quality 1 alloys that you won't have any idea what the hell to do with because they won't sell. Maybe you can put 10 of them into making one of these, put the rest in the bin. All right, cool. Right, give me 2 minutes, boys and girls. I'll be back in 2. Alrighty. Where did we get to then? So, blacksmithing then does have a path to 100. It's going to be quite expensive. I think I made... How many did I make? I went through 100... I went through over 100 tinder boxes making these. So 100 plus presses of the button, whatever this ends up costing. We put some rough numbers to this. It very much depends on how expensive knoll stones are. But I can easily see a single knoll stone being 100k, 1,000 gold, sorry. Which means the total cost of just using sanctified alloys could be 100k. Depends how desperate those blacksmiths are to get to skill 100, I suppose. But, let's say you do that. Then you do whatever the hell it is you need to do to get your 3 profession tools. You got to spec into your big boy blacksmith hammer. Do we maybe simulate a build with this character now? Or do we min-max everything and just see how everything looks? Well, actually, we were trying to figure out a little bit earlier, weren't we? What the scenario looks like if you're trying to make these alloys to the tippity top of your tippity top. So, let's say we take...
Guide you.
Greetings, traveler. Go in peace.
Hang on. Am I the only one that's realised what the flipping hell am I using charged and iron claw alloys for? Just had the sudden realisation that I've not used them for pretty much anything. They go into PvP stuff. PvP stuff and then some of the end crafted weapons. Or... or armor weapons and profession gear. Okay. So it's... okay. They're all really used about the same way. Alright, whatever. Sanctified alloys then. These are clearly going to be the big ticket one. Now, if we want to throw quality 3 core alloys and quality 3 ore at it, by the time we've leveled this up, by the time we've done the grind up here, we're already guaranteeing quality 2, but we're some 400 concentration from... 400 concentration needed to craft one at quality 3. This is without getting any of our tools. This is without spending any spec points. You can, day 1, in theory, because all we've done is level the profession, day 1, in theory, you can start churning out quality 3 sanctified alloys. 400 concentration is nearly 2 days worth of concentration though. So you'd get 2 alloys every 2 days. 1 alloy a day. 1 alloy a day at quality 3, but you can start doing it like instantly. Core alloys at quality 3 is going to require purchase of quality 3 bismuth. It's a material. You let some gatherer do that. This will just have a price against it. Quality 3 core alloys. You it should also be noted you're not going to be able to it's going to be more expensive than that, isn't it? Because if you need to make a core alloy at quality 3 first, you could in theory be put in a position where you need to spend 300 concentration making your core alloy. You'd press this and you'd do this. There's your core alloy at quality 3. Then you'd take that quality 3 core alloy and you'd add it in here. Then you'd buy your quality 3 iron claw ore, and then you'd spend 400 more concentration. So, technically, day 1, you can produce you can make 2 sanctified alloys at quality 3 every 700 concentration. Ouch. Do we know how fast we get concentration again? 10 per hour. It's the maths that seems to be relatively accurate. Or in big numbers, that's a full bar every 4 days. $240 a day. Any weekly resets as bonuses? Not to my knowledge, although we will have to wait until the game goes live to find that out. If it randomly resets to 1,000 on reset day, that would be hilarious. But I would also think that would be a bug. But we're going to need some tools and we're going to need some spec points before we can start making these things better. Leveling gave us very few knowledge points. We could, in theory, go through and craft one of everything that we already own. How many first-time crafts are we missing here? 1, 2, 3, 4... 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Not necessarily easy, so we won't count it. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Questionable. Just say 20. 1, 22, 23, 24. So there's still 24 knowledge points from first time crafts we could get at not too much of an expense. Plus the other 24 we'd get by going and getting some treasures. So let's just call that a nice round even 50. On top of the 9 that we got already. So let's call that 60 for the sake of numbers. 60 knowledge points without really doing much of anything too special. Gather some treasures, level the profession. 60 points. Be a cheat book. So 60 points is relatively freebie numbers. Doing absolutely nothing special whatsoever. I don't consider crafting one of everything from trainer recipes anything special. So 60 points, gather some treasures, get some stuff. One thing I do want to do with my leveling guides, actually, this is a long-term thing. This isn't really something that is I have time to do for all of the professions before launch, but I would like to do like a do this once you have finished leveling kind of thing. My guide kind of tells you everything anyway that you can do. Your prerogative is just to go out and do it. The order is sometimes important. Cheap PvP recipes is a possibility, yes, for some more. If you can get cheap recipes, on the assumption they are cheap, but for every one of these you can get and craft. That said, these aren't necessarily the easiest thing to just craft, because you need these combatant heraldry things to make it. ultimately leading to these not being that easy to harvest for first time craft bonuses. So you need to be doing some PvP at least, which might throw some people through the loop because they won't expect that when it happens. But let's say 60 knowledge points. What can we do with 60 knowledge points? That gets us 10 points in here, means of production. Sub-spec of your choice. Skill when crafting, profession equipment, and consumables. That gets us this way. Finishing reagents and alloys, 1 skill point per. Did those 10 points actually give any tangible benefit here? 115. 100 from up here. 100 from up here, 15 from the tree. That gave us 15? Oh, 10 for the points and then 5 bonus. Okay, so that helped. Interestingly, the first thing you're trying to do really is limit the amount of concentration needed to make your sanctified alloys. But what you're really trying to do it's going to be the same, isn't it? They're both 525 recipe difficulty. You'll need 200 points to get this. It's kind of weird. You have to spend a huge amount of points. Huge amount of points. That's 30. That's 20. That's 50 in total. 30, 60. Okay. You need 80 points to do the whole lot. You need 80 points to do the whole lot. You get 60 very easily. $60 very easily. Where'd you get the other 20 from? Couple of patron orders. Where applicable. Couple of patron orders. You got knowledge books. You're going to be wanting to do patron orders anyway, because there's also the patron order world quest. Your weekly treasures as well. True, is a few. So yeah, the other 20 are going to be easy to get that first week as well, I suspect. Hidden profession masters, maybe. If they're hidden, they're really hidden because nobody's found them yet. Or at least if anybody has, they've kept them to themselves and not told me. I'm not sure the hidden profession masters exist this time around. But I'm sure once the game goes live, somebody will go, did you know about this dude? And I'll quickly add them to the guide. Multi-craft when crafting alloys and frameworks. That's quite valuable. Or multi-craft. This one is really valuable. That's a big one, because it's plus 15 skill. That's a big one. We unlock alloys. We're now getting there. We're now down to only 200 concentration usage on our cores. And then 345. We've reduced 700 down to... We've reduced 700 down to a much more reasonable number. Not to mention, if we were to fix this problem, we'd reduce this a huge amount as well. Are we going to put The irony is that we take this to there. These last few points, is it 1 skill per point? Unlocking the finishing reagent use is like, who cares? 30, 45, we've still got loads of points to spend. We said we had about 60 easy money. What are we missing? 85 points. Okay. There's our 60 that we can get relatively easily. Now we're only looking at 150 concentration for each of our core alloys. We're also then 200 concentration for each of our sanctified alloys. What did I say? 200 plus 150, 350. Still not able to press the button every day. We're very close. With some profession tools on board, it'll be very easy every day. You can get 20 knowledge points from other places. You fill this one. Learn to craft the artisan's blacksmith hammer. Sure. Crafting stonework, not going to make a difference. Learn to craft the forged framework, doesn't make a difference because we've already had it for ages. Iron Claw whetstone or the Iron Claw razor stone, whichever one you choose. But this is as far as we get in our knowledge points when it comes to optimizing alloys. Meaning surely at this point, it's just our tools that's holding us back. Which is exactly 40 points. Yeah, exactly 40 points. So yeah, guaranteed. If you can get your 3 profession tools, as soon as you can get your 3 profession tools, you can guarantee sanctified alloys at quality 3. Which is massive. The fact that you can do that so quick, though, means there'll be many, many blacksmiths out there that do. And they'll all start competing on price on these, even before the raid launches, even before people get their sparks, even before the demand for these really kicks in. So actually, I'm going to call it here right now. Sanctified alloys will be basically at craft cost. Before the season even begins. There isn't going to be much of a markup on these even by the time the season starts. But when somebody comes along and resets the price of Nullstone, because this is the limiting factor here, when somebody comes along and resets the price of Nullstone, then that gives reason for these to go to the moon. Four alloys at this same point will be guaranteed. If you can get, as soon as you get these, you can guarantee core alloys at quality 3 as well. Please tell me finishing reagents aren't ingenuity bonus. Well, we have, yes, forged frameworks are going to give you up to 300 ingenuity. Kind of pointless by the time you can guarantee it. There is the tempered framework, which will increase your resourcefulness by a bunch. Chance to gain a skill point. Don't need any skill points anymore. Multi-craft yields 25% more when crafting consumable items. The adjustable framework looks quite tasty if you stack some multi-craft. Use less concentration. Who cares? We're trying to get to the point where we don't use it anyway. Increase multi-craft by 300. That's interesting. Yield more or increase the chance for it to proc. I wonder which one of those ends up being more valuable. We make mirror powders. Who makes mirror powder? I swear we make mirror powder. No? Maybe we don't. Who makes mirror powder? I've seen that recently. Maybe it's an enchanting thing. Sounds like jewel. Yeah, it does sound like it should be jewel crafters, doesn't it? Is that quest in Dornogal to get one-time crafting mats reward doable on a level 70, or do we have to be 80? The rule to remember with the is it 70, is it 80 business is that you need to unlock adventure mode. Once you've unlocked adventure mode, which requires you to get one character to level 80, once you've done it once, it's warband wide. Level 70s will be fine. So the answer is usually always the same. You need to get to 80 first. Once you've done it once, your level 70 alts will be good to go. Uh, 300 multi-craft feels like 10%. Feels like a 10%. When you are at the point where you're guaranteeing these, once you get these tools in order, there will be simple maths on which one of these ends up being just the best. That's a craft sim job. Or the simple maths will be that these end up being so goddamn expensive that it still doesn't make a difference. But sanctified alloys, null stones are... I easily think a null stone is going to be 1,000 or 2,000 gold. These could because via testing some gathering, not testing much of it to be fair, but by testing some gathering, you're not getting these very often. I'm sure hardcore sweaty gatherers will get a bunch of them, but they're quite rare. They're kind of like heavy callous hide level rare. Back in Shadowlands, you might get a few of them an hour, but you're not going to be swimming in these things. So I suspect these will be a few thousand gold. 1,000-2,000 gold each, something along those lines. Which then starts to mean that your multi-craft, if you can proc, instead of procking 2, you start procking, 6 or 8. You're easily in the realms where spending a little bit extra on finishing reagents is valuable. You can pay a couple of 100 gold for your finishing reagents at that point, because if it helps you, mathematically it will pay for itself back and some, maybe. It's a maybe because it's a maths thing, because it all depends on the prices of everything else. Depends on the price of these, and it depends on the price of your materials. That's why suggestions for what finishing agents to use is a little tricky. You could not have any tools, and you could use some Artisans Consortium seals of approval, which will give you the 40 skill instead. These actually, I don't know how much of an impact these are going to have, but these plus skill, the apprentice crafting license, stack of pentagon reviews, and unraveled instructions. You can buy all of these on the auction house. They come from patron orders. Patron orders are looking more and more like mission tables every single day, but they come from patron orders and you can sell them. If people out there are selling them, some people out there can buy them. And if you, let's say for example, you don't have all of your blue stuff up here, you're missing a piece because you've run out of artisan security, there's the possibility, if and as and when the price is right, for you to buy some of these instead. Make up the gap. How much skill are you missing if you only use tier 2 mats? Oh, massive amount. It's tier 2 mats are worth like well, tier 2 you've got 380 skill. Using fully everything, 485. So it's 105 skill difference by using quality 3. Huge amount. Monstrous amount. Not enough that you can really counteract it, even with these. You might be able to drop down your core alloys. You might be able to drop your core alloys down and make some of it back, but it's mostly weighted on the core alloys. You'll see if I drop the Iron Claw down, it only goes down to 461. There's not as much weighting on this. This doesn't have as much of an impact as the quality of this. And that's usually the same wherever you've got things that use multiple quality-based materials. In total, you gain 40% of the recipe difficulty for free. You use all quality 3. And if you're trying to guarantee quality 3, you just have to. There's no way around it. And when you're only talking about 2 Iron Claw ore, that's not anything, really. From 485 to 461. What is that actually difference? 14? Is that 14 difference? $24, sorry. 24 difference. 24 difference just by dropping down this. Unraveled instructions only accounts for 20, not 24. Are there any new improvements to the work order UI, hoping for the ability to search, advertise for a specific profession? No, unfortunately not. Work orders are still the same old, same old. You can hover over... The only subtle improvement is you can hover over these little chests now, and it shows what the rewards will be. Which is a little bit easier if you are at least fishing for something. Not a single order providing all of the materials though. Which means there's almost never going to be a case where crafting any of this is actually a profit for you. You're going to do it simply for the fact that you're like, right, well I need this artisan security. I need to fill this order. Boom. Fun to know though that only 80 points in your skill tree and a full bar up here. It's interesting to know that sanctified alloys, or any alloys for that matter, guaranteed at quality 3 is literally a day 1 task for somebody. Who makes Blacksmithing's stuff? Tools and accessories. Oh, Blacksmithing makes 2 of their own things anyway. Oh, so you're gonna need 2 You're gonna need 2 pocket tool spec blacksmiths anyway. The hammer and the toolbox. both which come from... Both, actually, which come from just leveling the profession. Meaning you don't need 450 artisan security on an alt to make these. You only need 300. Because you get the recipe for free. Wasn't it just unlocking this? You need 10 knowledge points though instead. No, you don't even need 10 knowledge points because you get it from here. Oh no, you need to unlock a spec tree. So yeah, 10 points. 10 points in here is all you need. Which you'll do that by leveling the profession in the first place. So yeah, your blacksmith alt that's responsible for the hammer. Yeah, you only need 300 artisan security on each of these two alts to feed those in. And what does a leather worker need to do to get the earthen forge master's apron? We pick up leatherworking quickly.
Been expecting you. Walk with the earth, mother.
Where's it gone? What was it called? Earthen Forge Master's Apron. There it is. So you do need 450 artisan security on that leatherworker. Need 450 on the leatherworker to act as a mule. But your two blacksmiths only need 300 each. Which actually means getting the tools relatively quickly and easily from alts to your main blacksmith is also not really that much of a task. The hardest bit is the leatherworking alt, I reckon. Where do you get 450 artisan security from on a leatherworker? You get 200 for free. Where do you get 450 artisan security from on a leatherworker? Yeah, the initial one-time character quest. 200 for free. That means you're missing 250. 10 work orders, if you're lucky. Hope for good RNG on patron orders. You'd get your knowledge. You'd have to do a bit of a profession-y, shuffly business, wouldn't you, on that leatherworker? Start us gathering. You get about 250 with a good gathering session. First of everything, plus all of your knowledge points times 5. Yeah. Start from level 1 gathering. 3 to 5 hours of gathering probably for 250 artisan security. Something I want to do at some point is to sort of put this into reality of what is it going to cost to do the profession shuffle. I can't really do that fully until well, in fact, no, because you're not paying any attention, are you? If you're doing the profession shovel, you're harvesting first-time crafts. You're not paying attention to optimal leveling paths. You are just crafting one of everything, which is grim, but people will do it. $1K per artisan security. We were talking about this a little bit earlier. I think a token's worth of gold is more than fair. It's going to take It's going to save you a bunch of hours. It's going to save you having the ult to do it. If somebody else is going to get 450 artisan security to then sell it to somebody else. There'll be crafters out there that will pay it. You only need to find one you're literally hunting for one person, right? You'd start a bidding war, for Christ's sake. You've only got the ability to fill one work order. You can fill one work order for one person. Stand in the middle of Dornogal, stand in the crafting quarters, and start an auction. Honestly, you'll get crafters fighting over it, because you can only do it once. Selling one blue profession tool, my artisan security. Bids start at 250k. See where it ends up. You can only do it once. Sell it to the highest bidder. You're on a big server in the middle of the crafting quarter. Some people will look at you funny, but I'm sure you'll get 2 or 3 people that will start a bidding war over that. Flipping eBay. What it's going to be. eBay for profession tools. Wouldn't you just mule the blacksmith alts and use the main blacksmith security? The leatherworking? No. The main blacksmith needs all of the artisan security for the knowledge books. If you're muling, do it properly. if you're muling, do it properly. If you're going to use alts to get your profession tools on your main character, do it properly and do it 3 times. Because what that basically then does is means all of the artisan security that you can gather on that main blacksmith can go straight into buying profession books, buying recipes, that sort of stuff, of which there's easily more than you can get your hands on anyway. You need just the Dornogal knowledge books are 200, 300, and 400 artisan security. What's that? Quick maths, like 900 just there, which is more than you can get in like one go anyway. So if you're going to the effort to use alts to get 2 of the tools, you need to do it for all 3, or you're still losing out to somebody else. Don't they give you some back as you use them? Well, this has actually been changing. My understanding is the Artisans Consortium ones do, yes, refund you. But apparently, I've not seen this with my own eyes, but a few people have told me that the Kej books, the 10 knowledge points, don't grant any artisan security, nor do the renown books. So I'm I need to see it with my own eyes, but by the fact that some people have said it, I'm willing to assume that they don't, and if they do, it's a bonus. Good, didn't want to grind Kej anyway. Well, that doesn't mean you're not going to want the 10 knowledge points, it just means you won't get the artisan security for free from it, so. Kej 100% don't, haven't tested the renown books. Yeah, I've not got to renown 12 to buy them to test, so. The amount of hours I've spent on the beta to not actually have gained any renown with anybody is pretty wild, to be fair. How do you conduct an open auction through trade chat spam, though? Just get people to shout bids out. /say bid. You know? Just get people to shout. Winning bid gets the tool. Boys and girls, though, I'm going to leave it there for now. I've got a few more notes to make about this blacksmithing leveling. And more importantly, I'm going to assume it's close enough to finish that it might be worth actually turning into a video. In the next few days, well, I was about to say weeks then, but we haven't got that long, have we? In the next few days, you will start to spot more videos popping up on the channel. Yesterday, the enchanting and the alchemy leveling guide went live. I obviously fully understand that people aren't going to click on these and watch these right now because, I mean, some people have, obviously, which is nice. Great, thank you. But I fully understand that these are not going to get many views until the expansion actually goes live. But I don't have the ability to leave it all until the absolute last minute, so I've got to start these now. I hope, my plan is to, by the time early access starts, to have a profession leveling guide for all of the professions done. Like, I hope that they're just published, they're ready for people to use day one. That's my plan. I can probably get this blacksmithing one done today. I will probably spend the evening. I need to do a video about, absolutely desperately need to do a little video about alt armies. I need to talk about what actually goes into the alt armies. Another video I need to do is pretty much exactly what we've just been talking about. Like, if you were going to mule your profession tools from an alt, what does that look like and what do they maybe need to do? What might you need to be aware of if you want to do this? Obviously, not everybody will want to do it because you might not even have the alts to be able to do it. But I think there'll be enough people that will at least be intrigued. And it'll be funny because it'll start a riot in the comments because people will be like, this is broken OP, this should be nerfed. But, you know, more gold, more effort should be rewarded. But I'm going to leave it there for today, boys and girls. And of course, it is Friday. That means you won't see me again until Monday. Not unless I get really bored or some spare time or some free time. I should, technically, there's no denying, I should actually take a day off. But I don't think we got time for any of that business. That's ridiculous. You'll see me live again on Monday. Feel free to come say hi in the Discord. Loads of chatter going on in the Discord at the moment as we approach the launch. But it's a fun time. It's a fun time. Shameless promo, obviously. Shameless promo. The guide is available via my Patreon. Gold Goblins over on Patreon. Technically, I haven't actually advertised this much, but technically tier 3 Twitch subs. But tier 3 Twitch subs is significantly more expensive because Twitch are greedy, unfortunately. Twitch take half the money, which is a scam. But tier 3 Twitch subs is another option. I'll get you a copy of the guide as well. If you don't want to use Patreon, is maybe the only reason there. But yeah, enjoy the rest of your weekend, boys and girls. Have a good one. Flipping ads have just started as I'm trying to do my outro, so I've maybe lost some of you already. Whoops. What can you do? Ban incoming for calling them a scam. Wait, what? Hang on. Huh? What? Oh, calling Twitch a scam. Yeah. They steal 50% of the money, they're mean. But anyway, have yourselves a good weekend, boys and girls. I will see you all on Monday. Peace.